Several stories we're tracking this afternoon. Here's a few you'll see first at 4. Louisiana's congressional maps under the tight scrutiny of the U.S. Supreme Court. The weather has settled down after causing chaos across the state this morning. And President Trump squares off against a federal judge over deportations. A lot to get to today at 4 o'clock. A Baton Rouge woman rebuilding after someone crashes into her home again. What caused a multi-car pileup on I-10 this morning, and the latest update from the Vatican on Pope Francis's health.
It is factually incorrect to state that I was not there by Greg's side.
Tonight on Newsbeat, Brian Kelly speaks on the Greg Brooks lawsuit, President Trump signs a transgender athlete ban in college sports, and how an on-campus organization is finding new ways to improve campus safety. All this and more, Newsbeat starts right now.
Tonight on Newsbeat, an overturned car stops traffic on Highland. Your crawfish prices are dropping. Why so? And LSU baseball takes on North Dakota State tonight at the Box. All this and more, Newsbeat starts now.
Next at 4, federal workers are being told to justify their jobs to the Trump administration. Why even some Republicans are pushing back against the directive.
New at 5 today, Baton Rouge High building a dynasty not on the court or the field, but in the workshop. How the school's championship robotics program stands alone on the national stage.
Coming up on News 2 at 4, internal struggles continue within the Democratic Party as the clock ticks toward a government shutdown. New at 5 today, you use your toothbrush every day, but how often are you replacing it? How getting a new one may increase your overall health.
We have a lot to get to as we start the 4 o'clock hour. Why an inmate on death row is trying to convince authorities to use a different method of execution. We're going to hear from a man who credits a smoke alarm with saving his life, and how seafood restaurants around Baton Rouge are preparing for the first Friday of Lent. But we begin the 4 o'clock news with an update in the suspected hazing death of a Southern University student. Last night, 24-year-old Caleb McCrary turned himself into Baton Rouge police in connection to Caleb Wilson's death. He faces manslaughter and criminal hazing charges. Police believe McCrary dealt the blow to the chest that caused Wilson's death during a hazing ritual for the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. The WBRZ investigative unit's Bess Casserly, the first to break this news and has been following this case since the beginning. She was in court today for McCrary's bond hearing.
This afternoon, the same magistrate judge that signed Caleb McCrary's arrest warrant gave him a $100,000 bond, citing the fact that he has absolutely no criminal history and, in her opinion, does not pose a threat to the public. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we actually spoke with Caleb McCrary's attorney, find out what he has to say about the truth coming out. Reporting outside the 19th JDC, Bess Casserly, WBRZ News 2.
In response to the hazing incident, Southern's president says all student organizations, including Greek Life, have been ordered to stop all additional member intake. The university's president says Omega Psi Phi has been forced to cease all activities. This video showing the fraternity's letters were damaged on campus yesterday afternoon. Southern is also conducting their own internal investigation. The W, as well as a code of conduct judiciary proceedings.
Anyone at any student organization found to be in violation will face prompt disciplinary action. We place the quality of the experience our students have on our campus, and we have high standards for that. And we intend to preserve those standards and act expeditiously to resolve this matter such that nothing like this happens again in the future.
The WBRZ investigative unit will continue following this case. We'll have updates throughout our later newscasts and on WBRZ.com. A federal judge opened a hearing today that challenges Louisiana's new execution procedures. Jesse Hoffman is scheduled to be executed in March for a 1996 rape and murder of a New Orleans advertising account executive. However, he says suffocating him with nitrogen interferes with his Buddhist meditation, violating his constitutional rights. Hoffman has suggested death by firing squad or letting him drink a mixture of drugs that will sedate him and stop his heart. State lawyers believe the execution should proceed as planned. A Baton Rouge man accused of killing 2 people 2 years ago is now in jail. BRPD says 26-year-old Keontae Burton killed Rejani and DeJounte Williams off of Mission Street. That was in January of 2023. Burton was found in Concordia Parish late last month and was then extradited back here to Baton Rouge yesterday. He's charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and the illegal use of a weapon. U.S. Marshals looking for a rape and child trafficking suspect from Indiana believed to be near Hammond. Hammond police say Antonio Lewis Jr. has been in Louisiana since sometime after Christmas. Authorities tried arresting him back in February, but he ran off. Lewis Brisley worked as a delivery driver and was last seen at a home off of Henson Road. A smoke alarm saves a local man and his family from a potentially deadly house fire. Clifford Walker says he had just put his 5-year-old godson to bed Saturday night when he fell asleep, only to be woken up by his smoke detector. At first, he didn't see anything wrong and went back to sleep, but when that alarm started going off again, he realized the house was filling with smoke.
Well, sat down, dozed back off to sleep, and all of the smoke detectors, which are newly installed, were going off, and the house is full of smoke. If we didn't have working smoke detectors, that there would have been loss of life. It could have been a lot worse. Thankful, just thankful.
Because of those smoke alarms, Walker escaped safely with his godson and their 2 dogs. Fire officials say this is a good reminder to check your smoke detectors. If you don't have any, you can call the fire department to get them installed for free. How about this? St. George firefighters responded to a house fire on Devitt Drive this morning. The home right there off of Jefferson Highway sustained severe damage during the fire, but officials say there were no injuries. It is unknown at this time how that fire started. If you have any outdoor weekend plans, you might want to reschedule those. Several showers and storms expected, so let's get over to Balin with the next impact. All right, Balin, thank you. Multiple Mardi Gras parades originally scheduled for last week will now roll this weekend. Mid-City Gras will now take place this Sunday starting at 2 p.m. This was pushed back after the rain washed it out last week. This rolls along North Boulevard that will follow its usual route. The Mardi Gras parade in Zachary was also rescheduled. It's also been rebranded to St. Mardi Gras, play on St. Patrick's Day. That'll now take place March 16th at 1 p.m. Still at come at 4 o'clock, Pope Francis hits the 3-week mark of his hospital stay. We'll have an update on his condition.
Good evening and welcome to Wednesday Newsbeat. I'm Jada Ferris.
And I'm Juliana Russell. We start with LSU football head coach Brian Kelly's Wednesday press conference where he responded to the Greg Brooks Jr. Good Morning America interview.
Brooks and his father sat down with GMA's Michael Strahan to discuss their ongoing lawsuit against LSU, Our Lady of the Lake, and the surgeon who performed his procedure. When asked about not hearing from LSU since October of 2023, Greg Sr. said, quote, specifically Brian Kelly, my kid almost lost his life. Where were you? Forget about football, pick up the phone and say you love the kid. Here's what Kelly had to say in return.
On multiple occasions, we had somebody from my staff that was there virtually every single day. We love Greg. We love him for the person that he is, for the competitor that he is, and the battler that he is, and can only wish him continued progress as he goes through an incredibly difficult time. But it was important for me to set the record clear.
Protesters gathered outside of the state capitol building Wednesday afternoon to protest the second Trump administration. The 50-51 movement took place across the nation today in all 50 states, and Baton Rouge was no different. Dozens of people gathered and protested what the 47th president has done to start his term. Many had signs displaying a variety of issues from equal rights to immigration.
In light of protests, President Trump signed an executive order today banning transgender athletes from competing in women's sports.
The order affects all K-12 schools, and the NCAA is expected to follow the order and make new rules to require college athletes to compete with the gender they were assigned at birth. Republicans hope that this new order will put pressure on professional sports organizations, such as the Olympic Committee, to follow suit.
25 students shared their Saturday by volunteering to help LSU PD install new safety systems in campus buildings. These new safety systems seek to make students feel safer walking to and from class. Students were asked to take pictures of each door on campus using iPads provided to them. The volunteers were able to document every exterior door across LSU's 552 buildings. As a thank you, LSU police provided lunch for the students' hard work.
While accessing food might not be a problem for some, it can be a challenge for others in the LSU community. The LSU Food Pantry, located on the first floor of the Student Union, is available to all currently enrolled LSU students. Their goal is to provide students free supplemental food so they can focus on academics and thriving in community on campus. Open Monday through Friday, the new layout provides students easier access to goods. Volunteers are the heart of the operation, as individuals and organizations can help to lend a helping hand. Manager of Campus Life, Jennifer Christina, tells us how you can help support the food pantry.
Faculty, staff, students to help us with drives, recruiting volunteers, staffing the pantry, and really just making this a place that we can all work together.
You can visit lsu.edu/food pantry to learn more about how you can volunteer and help your peers.
Even though they're convenient, dining halls and on-campus food don't always give students a healthy, balanced option. Studies show that 40% of college students eat a balanced diet only occasionally, and 94% grab fast food 1 to 2 times a week, mainly because it's just so easy. Even with these challenges, stores like Sprouts give students a budget-friendly option to buy healthy food. They offer organic choices at affordable prices, making it easier for students to eat better.
Staying away from fast food and just those really cheap, easy options, it's hard to get yourself to either walk across campus and go to the Union, or maybe the better option.
You can visit the Student Health Center website for more information on clean eating.
Louisiana recently opened up the first hunting season of its state mammal in decades.
Nathan Messina has more on bringing back Louisiana black bear hunting. Wildlife and Fisheries urge people to visit bearwise.org to learn more about bears, what to do if you're approached by one, and how to keep them away from your campsites.
When we return, a look at this week's weather.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Good evening and welcome to Wednesday Newsbeat. I'm Kennedy Banks.
And I'm Gia Picarella. Welcome in. Severe weather will be impacting the Baton Rouge area today and this weekend. Our own Cassidy Trepanier has more. Cassidy?
We're expected to see both isolated and severe thunderstorms that can lead to hail, flash flood warnings, as well as tornadoes. So make sure you're staying weather aware for your area. Stay tuned because we have more weather to come. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Cassidy. She'll be back later with more weather.
LSU law professor Ken Levy has been allowed to return to the classroom by a judge, seemingly ending the legal battle after the professor's removal. Levy will return to teaching on Thursday following a month away, re-securing his spot back to the classroom. LSU President William Tate said that he is responsible for removing the professor and that the university will begin an internal investigation on what led to the initial suspension.
Details have emerged in the death of Telemundo sports reporter Aiden Manzano. Daniel Colbert was arrested for stealing money from Manzano after his death. Is now connected to another death last year. Kenner Police Chief Keith Conley spoke to the media regarding the investigation.
So right now we have 3 cell phones that were recovered from the search in St. Tammany Parish. We have possession of those cell phones. We believe one is the victim's cell phone. We're doing a forensic dig down on those 3 phones to see what kind of evidence we can recover from that. And we've gotten information about similar acts that are coincidence in nature that we're trying to see if they're connected to Danette Colbert.
This continues to be a developing story. We'll have more details as they emerge.
Tempers flared earlier this week when LSU alum and comedian Alex Stein stopped by Free Speech Alley. Stein came to campus hosted by Turning Point USA to encourage students to step up and speak up. He debated students on topics like abortion, trans rights, and the war in Gaza. After some civil conversation, things took a turn. A large crowd formed and many stepped up to argue with Stein. Stein was elated that today's college students wanted to have the uncomfortable questions.
I learned that the culture has shifted and more college kids are dialed in to what's happening politically and globally.
As the debate ended, Stein's message carried on with students that they shouldn't be afraid to speak up.